All right, for the organizing step, once you have gathered all the information and you've sorted it onto your information sorting document, we're going to go ahead and work with the next steps. In order to maximize your time, I'm going to break down each of the steps on this organizer in individual screencasts so you can watch them as you need them and not have to take in more information than you need at one time. So we're assuming at this point you've got all the information you think you're going to need. And truthfully, based on the challenges and limitations we're looking at right now with distance learning, I'm not too concerned about you having everything you possibly need. If you have at least 15 pieces of information and you're able to use at least 12 of them, fantastic. If it's much less than that, email me, let's talk about it. Otherwise, let's go from here. First, the plan. Now you're going to need to figure out how to group the information by what it's about, not where it's from. Your information sorting has it based on source A, source B, source C. That's great if you're doing a book report where you're just going to report one paragraph on one topic and report on that one source. That's not what we're doing here. You need to take the information and put it together so that the information makes sense, not the sources make sense. So to do that, we're going to make a list of the sections your paper could be divided into. The best way to start with that is to use the text structure as a guide. You chose that when you wrote your thesis statement last week. For example, if you're doing cause and effect, you might break down your topic with cause 1, cause 2, cause 3, and the effects of causes 1, 2, and 3. If you're going to focus mostly on causes, you could reverse that by saying it's causes and then effects 1, effect 2, effect 3. The idea is you're trying to get to have 3 to 4, maybe 5 at most sections in your paper. 3 is great, 4 is good, 5 might be a bit much. 2 is probably not going to be enough. You're going to have to figure out some things beyond that. Even if you take your 2 ideas and split each of them, you might end up with 1 and 3, 2 and 2, 2 and 3, and then you've got that larger group that's easier to break down your set of 12 or 15 pieces of information into. If you did, for example, a compare-contrast, you might have all the similarities because you're focusing on differences, and you might have one difference and then the second difference. 3 sections. Think of it kind of like 3 body paragraphs when it's all said and done. If you're doing problem solution, how about first you describe the problem, then you talk about solution 2 and how it solves the problem, solution 1, and then solution 2 and how it solves the problem as well. You could even add a 4th paragraph of describing which solution you would pick and why, or maybe that's your conclusion. If, however, the text structures aren't really helpful for you, then let's have you look at another way of doing it. Maybe you could try listing questions that your information can answer. So you might start with a basic question about your topic, maybe some background information that you think your reader needs to know. Then you have a follow-up question that goes a little more depth about one aspect of your topic. You could have a second follow-up question, or you might think there's a sequence where now that I've answered those 2 questions, maybe I ask one more question that's a little bit deeper, but I need those first 2 questions answered. And so there's a question after that. It's possible that your questions that you ask are kind of even, meaning they're not really one order versus another. That's okay, but you still might want to choose an order. Ideally, you have 3 to 5 sections at the end of this step. Too few, you're going to get stuck when it comes to sorting information. Too many, and you kind of end up with this random disconnected list of info. And again, if you're totally stuck, email me. Let me know what kind of help you need. I can work this out with you. I've done this quite a few times, and I would love to help you. You're going to learn more in those conversations than you will staring at it endlessly saying, I don't get this. For the examples in this document here, and you don't have this example shared with you because it's actually another student's former work, somebody took the ideas, the questions they created and said, okay, what are the animals of tropical rainforests in Africa that are becoming or are already endangered? And I put that, that'll be first, so I put that as section 1. What are some causes of animals that are becoming endangered in tropical rainforests? That seems to make sense coming next. What are some causes of animals being endangered in Africa? Because they wanted to do 2 different areas. So I've got 2 and 3 there. What are some things being done to protect these animals? You could argue those are kind of, the effect is that they're being endangered. So we have who are they, causes of it, effects of it, but also they wanted to incorporate kind of a problem solution. What are the effects? What are people doing about it? And there's room for a 5th one if they wanted it, but this person stopped at 4. So your first step now is for you to figure out what your section headings are going to be. You could do an individual word. You could say, you could use this examples here. That's great. But what is that first cause? What is that second cause? What are those two differences you want to talk about? What is the solution that you want to describe? Do that in a short sentence. If you can do it in 2 to 7 words, fantastic. Don't worry about writing whole sentences. Don't worry about grammar and capitalization and punctuation and spelling. Just get your ideas down. And that is what you do for step 1.